It's Tuesday, February 10th. Welcome to Scouting the League. Well, it depends on which side of the game you were on. If you're a Patriots fan, feeling good about the future, a little disappointed in the way the season ended up, but there is still a lot to look forward to. If you're a Seahawks fan, Seahawks, front office guy, Seahawks scout, you probably haven't slept yet. You are riding on cloud nine, Super Bowl champions. You have a lot to look forward to. Two franchises that have stable front offices, head coaches that aren't going anywhere, and a lot to look forward to. We're going to talk about all of that today. Again, always tough spots from the 31st and 32nd spot in the NFL draft, but you got to win free agency, you got to win the draft, you got to win your offseason. And then, of course, you got to win the games when they come to the field. So lots to look forward to for both of those teams. We're going to talk about some of those pieces, some of the things that I'm looking at this offseason for both those teams. But before we jump in with that, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, share this podcast wherever you're listening and watching, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or that video portion over on YouTube. Give us a follow everywhere you're at. Hit those buttons. Be a subscriber on YouTube. All those things really help us out. Really let us know that you're listening, that you love the show, the insight that we are continuing to bring you. Give us those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and everywhere you are listening. And comment. Let us know everywhere where you are at, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear in the future. We are talking scouting traits every Monday. We've hit on quarterbacks, edges, offensive line. Yeah, head back yesterday's episode. Did talk about Will Campbell, some of those issues he had in the Super Bowl, and why I don't think the arm length, again, we didn't talk about arm length, we talked about hand use. Go back, listen to that one. O-line traits. Next week is going to be wide receivers. It's going to be a nice conversation because, again, we get a little bit of nuance in the different wide receiver spots and the way teams use them. We get assistant GMs like Ed Dodds on the program. We have conversations with people like Tyler Jones tomorrow, Deputy AD, Chief Strategy Officer, and General Manager at Virginia. Neil and I sit down with Tyler to talk all things college football. So no matter where you're at in the football world, we are bringing you something, insight you won't find anywhere else, specifically from the scouting world, which is where I made my mark for the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. Of course, I am Rodrik David. At RightStepADV is where you can find me on Twitter. My website, rsafootball.com, if you want to reach out, learn more about me, read my background, everything on there. Again, hit that button, send me an email on there. If you're a scout and aspiring scout, make sure you check out thescoutingcommunity.com over there on my website as well. Doing things, man, it's been a busy really couple weeks as aspiring scouts, starting to get them placed. It's people that want to get into scouting. Hey, what do I need to be doing now? A lot of really good conversations. If all I'm doing is connecting you with somebody in a building, connecting with somebody that does good work, that is what I want to do. I want to help you, and that is all through thescoutingcommunity.com. So go check it out. And last but not least, our partners over at bluemaca.com, the insoles that will upgrade your performance, upgrade your shoes. Again, it's just a pair of shoes until you put that Blue Maca insole in there, that non-slip insole, the recovery insole, that plantar fascia recovery, or that split toe, carbon fiber, turf toe insole. Again, insoles that will make your shoes more comfortable. It will improve your performance. Use code Scouting20. Let them know we sent you and get a little discount on that order. That is bluemaca.com. Check the show notes for more on that. And make sure you are signed up and have it on your schedule. The Inside the League seminar on Wednesday, February 25th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern in Indianapolis. Scouting the League will be live streaming the event, so if you are not able to make it in person, maybe you got some family, want to check you out winning that BART award, make sure they log on Twitter, YouTube, 5:30 Eastern. Scouting the League will be live. If you're going to be there in person, make sure you are at the convention center. All that in Neil Stratton's Inside the League wrap, or check it out on his Twitter page at Inside the League. So we got a couple of teams. Season is officially done. Patriots, Seahawks, both those teams have plenty of things to look forward to. Let's start, though, with the big decisions, big changes, obviously, in Seattle. But again, what are we going to think about? Again, Seattle, obviously, you're Super Bowl champs. You're riding high. You have to hit when the iron's hot. Again, it is not always guaranteed, even with good teams in that Super Bowl window, that you're going to get back. So you better do everything you can to get back while this window's open. Seahawks, one of their early decisions they have to do is, what are we going to do with Sam Darnold? Obviously, back-to-back 14-win seasons. Didn't do too much. just played the game at quarterback, protected the ball, got it to his weapons. They rode Kenneth Walker, who we'll talk about a little bit later. But again, Sam Darnold didn't sign a real long-term contract. We are sitting in a spot where the salary cap we know is going up. Sam Darnold's value is also not going down. He now has a Super Bowl ring under his belt. He is a back-to-back 14-game winner that now looks, sounds, talks, leads like a franchise guy. His value is not going to go down, regardless of what the Seahawks do in the fall of 2026. Sam Darnold's value is Sam Darnold's value. He's going to get top of market money, whether it is in Seattle or somewhere else. I would imagine there are some conversations. Hey, what do we need to do? What's the numbers? How do we get it right? How do we front load it to make sure we got some room down this line? How do we get Sam Darnold under contract for about the next 4, 5, 6 years instead of just riding it for these next 2 years? Because again, all of a sudden during fall camp, we don't want to get through a season and start going into that last year of the contract having to worry about Sam Darnold's future. I would imagine this is going to get a lot of conversation. Again, coming up at the Combine, I'd imagine John Schneider, the agency, everybody's already talking about it. I would fully expect to start to see some movement on that Sam Darnold contract to keep him in Seattle for the long term. Again, another one that Seattle gets to deal with, new offensive coordinator, of course. Clint Kubiak headed to Las Vegas. That is a no-brainer. He's got an outstanding situation there in Las Vegas. Again, excited for that opportunity. It's going to be really fun to see what he does. I think Ashton Janty might have a nice year. Brock Bowers, of course. Again, get Fernando Mendoza at that number one spot. Fully expect Matt Crosby to be back there. They will get that figured out. Max is a Raider, should be a Raider. So excited to see what happens. But that means Seattle gets to find a new offensive coordinator. Hey, I did an episode on defensive head coaches finding new offensive coordinators back a couple months. Head back to the archives, look up that one. Again, Vrabel has to think about it. Mike McDaniel has to think about it. Every defensive head coach has to think about it. Better just have a plan. Well, I'm sure Mike has known for a little bit. Obviously, Clint was a candidate last year. You have guys in mind. Again, some of the names that have been discussed, Mike Kafka, again, well thought of guy, had some ups and downs last year. Don't rule out Andrew Janocko. Sounds like the arrows are pointing to him going to be the OC for Clint in Vegas. But again, if you're Andrew, do you think about staying in that known situation? Does Mike want you back? Again, sounds like he will follow, but who knows? Justin Outen, again, a guy on that staff that has had success, that has been in this outside zone system, that has been an offensive coordinator before. Again, maybe not the years he wanted to in Denver there, but again, Justin Outen, a guy that I would expect to get maybe a run, get an interview. It's going to be interesting to see where Mike goes. Again, you want to keep as much continuity, as much system and scheme stability as you can, because that is what you have built for. I would imagine Mike's got a good plan. I'd imagine John has a good plan. Again, every franchise, every head coach is defensive minded. Really, it doesn't matter what it is, but it's just more emphasis for that defensive minded head coach. You better have a plan for that OC. So again, you've got a lot to kind of figure out there. We will see. They'll all get it settled, shaken out here, have the parade, have fun, and then get everything set to go. For the Patriots, man, you've got another year. You keep the building really largely intact. Again, always the value in having a guy like Josh McDaniels as the OC. Again, he may be done with his chances as a head coach. We will see, but sustained success. You really turn Drake May around. Maybe he'll get that elusive third shot, kind of like Mike McCarthy's getting. But again, the Patriots really going to have their band back together. Not a ton of changes I wouldn't expect. And probably, again, upgrade, if anything, here and there. So, again, the Patriots get ready to run it back. Going to be a lot of fun, lot of excitement there in the building about what you're building in the future. And that was my contention. This Patriots team about a year behind the Seahawks. It certainly showed up at some of these positions. Expect the Patriots to be back and competing for that division title and a chance to go to the Super Bowl again. After that, let's get to the draft. Again, we talked, both these teams have had good, stable front offices now for at least a couple years. Seahawks obviously goes way back. Elliot Wolf in charge there of the front office in New England. In 2025, the Patriots had 9 major contributors from that draft, which again is why I give them the best nod for Neil's Inside the League best draft award. Again, some other deserving and teams that you would certainly consider, but man, 9 major contributors from a draft where you really relied on a lot of young guys. You saw the young guys again. Maybe when the lights were real bright in the Super Bowl, you saw that young roster. But again, I give them the nod. I fully expect them to step up and have another good draft. The Seahawks had 4 from this last draft that were major contributors. Again, another tight end in there that was, a fairly significant part of what they did. As we roll into the 2026 draft, New England, nice even 7 picks, one throughout each of the 7 rounds. Again, though some of them have been moved, traded all around, but again, 7 picks. You expect them to have, 7 picks, move, give or take. Again, don't expect a ton of movement. Expect them to hit where they want to be and make it a nice, clean, easy 7 picks about where they're at. Seattle on the other end, man, we could see a historic year for Seattle. Currently holds just 3 draft picks in the 2026 NFL draft. First round, second round, third round. It could be a really quiet Saturday for John Schneider and that Seattle roster, though. They'll be ready for undrafted free agents, though they'll be ready to move back up into the, day 3 rounds. Just 3 draft picks at this point. Again, that would be historically low. The Saints with the Ricky Williams pick, of course, was the 1 pick. No team has only ever had 2 picks. We will see where the Seahawks end up by the end of round 7, but they could certainly be in rare company here. I would imagine the Seahawks, if they do have a plan here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Let's make the most thorough undrafted free agent plan. Basically use that free agency like a bunch of 7th round picks. Again, nothing ever is on paper. Nothing's ever official, but hey, you can have some handshake. Hey, this seems like a really good spot for this guy. Hey, it sounds like it. Let's make it happen if my guy doesn't get drafted. I would fully expect that Seahawks building to be ready to rock and roll and absolutely crush that UDFA class this year for these rookies when they come in. But again, we could see a historic draft for Seattle. So again, both these teams are going to be loaded up for that draft come, April of 2026, and we'll see where they end up. Flipping back over to the Patriots. Again, Drake May, again, we talked about it yesterday. Will Campbell, just the 3rd starter as a rookie at left offensive tackle in the NFL. Drake May, just the 10th second-year quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. Again, this is a guy that we saw growth, we saw development, but must play with more conviction and confidence. You really saw it weighing down the stretch. Protecting the ball is good, but at some point you can't take the sacks he did. You can't turn the ball over, again, whether it be, holding onto the ball, being late, and then just the missed throws. Again, Drake May took the steps. I expect him, again, similar to what the Panthers did, grabbing a really nice weapon for Bryce Young there down in Carolina that really allowed him to take it to the next level. Again, I would not be surprised to see the Patriots do something with a wide receiver, either in free agency with some of that cap money, or, hey, let's go hit the best wide receiver. There's going to be a good guy there available at one way or another. Or, again, do a little move and shake and see if we can grab one of those guys, maybe jump up a little bit in the first round. Again, got to help Drake May out in the draft. I fully expect him to do that. For both these teams, as you get through the draft, again, free agency is always going to dictate a lot of that. Again, for New England, really one big name that is going to hop up here, and that's Caleb Chase. Again, a big name, a piece Vrabel now knows, likes, a major part of that defense, a guy that Braves is going to want to move around. Again, so you like that type of guy on your roster, could certainly see him being a guy that's back in New England doing good things for that roster. After that, you probably have some guys that are more vet minimums, low back end, second, third wave type free agency. Austin Hooper, Jalen Hawkins. We got Tonga on the inside on the D line. You got Lowen Mumford on the offensive line. Again, you probably take one or the other of those. Again, you don't have a ton of major pieces that, hey, we got to figure out. So you're going to be talking, hey, who can we extend? Who do we want to kick out? Let's make sure we hit this draft. Let's bring back that premier piece in Caleb Chase. Or is there that coveted free agent out there that this team's really going to go after to kind of continue to fill in that defense? Again, the Patriots are in a great spot when it comes to their roster, got some cap room, and we'll talk about that more as we get down here. On Seattle, again, a little bit bigger, a little bit more substantial list, and that is led off by Kenneth Walker. Again, Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, a huge part of them really being able to execute the game plan that they wanted to. Success running the ball was going to allow them to protect Sam. Again, Sam's numbers were not particularly good, made the throws he needed to at times, really protected the ball, just ran the offense and, won the game. So again, credit to that. But Kenneth Walker, a huge part of that. Again, you got Zach Charbonnet, who's sitting behind you, injured. He's going to be coming off the injury. Kenneth Walker, if you want a top-end market deal, man, it's tough. You're probably talking about finding a new home if you want to take a hometown discount. If you want to take, hey, I know I'm a good player, I want to be here. You take a contract that's not reset in the market, not up in that Derrick Henry territory. Again, you just got to take the contract that you can get, be agreeable to that. Again, otherwise, if I was a bet man, I would probably say Kenneth Walker finds a new home for next year, and Seattle kind of continues to rebuild that running back room. On the D-line, Boy Mafe on the D-line may want to add him back, but again, he is likely going to be looking for a payday. And that's really the theme when you're a good front office that hits on a bunch of day 2 and day 3 picks. Man, these guys are due for paydays, and you cannot pay everybody. So Boy Mafe, again, you want to add him back, but again, he is probably going to be getting paid somewhere in the secondary. You got Treek Woolen, 5th rounder. He's going to be getting paid. Kobe Bryant, 4th rounder. He's likely going to be looking for a little bit more money. You've got Joby, a UDFA out of Alabama, broke in with the Eagles, but has now had a couple good seasons in Seattle. Again, you're probably talking about him getting a little bit more than you would have expected a year ago. So again, you've got a bunch of day 3 players that are going to sign good contracts. And again, all of a sudden it becomes real pricey real quick to keep that core together. After that, you traded for Rashid Shaheed. Do you franchise tag a guy like that? Do you try to sign him to money? Or, hey, thanks for the rental. Here's a Super Bowl ring. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Again, you like to keep that cast together, but of course you've got Jackson Smith and Jigba as your premier guy for Sam Darnold. So again, you're probably not re-signing that number 1 wide receiver. Maybe go find somebody in the draft with one of your 3 draft picks. So we'll see what they do with Rashid Shaheed. When you start comparing these two teams, was a wild one. Dead cap. You talk about nearly $21 million for New England dead cap to just $400,000 for Seattle. Again, when you want to talk about doing it the right way, not paying players not to play for your team, again, not buying draft picks to just get rid of guys off your roster. Again, that's the difference between John Schneider and that front office being there for a while and Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel still getting that roster where they want it to go. That's always part of the process with new leadership is that dead cap money jumps up. Again, you're talking $21 million roughly to about $400,000 for Essel. Remarkable numbers. Again, Seattle certainly doing it the right way. As far as the cap money, again, $73 million available to work with for Seattle. Again, send some of that to Sam Darnold, re-sign the 1 or 2 guys that you want, kick some contracts down the line, get that money paid. You know that cap's going up. You have the money, go ahead and spend it. About $42 million for New England to spend. Again, not quite the room, but again, you still got time to get some players front loaded before you have to pay Drake May, before some of those other young contracts come up. Again, same thing. When you hit on 6, 7, 8, 9 draft picks, those numbers are eventually going to come due. You got to find a way to pay those guys. Credit to overthecap.com for some of these cap numbers. They do as good a job as about anybody out there keeping those numbers. So Super Bowl teams are always going to get pillaged. Again, the Seahawks certainly losing their offensive coordinator. You're going to lose some free agency, both players, staffs, front office people. You have to prepare. There's always got to be a plan, always got to be some forethought. Hopefully you got good people underneath that have a plan, have some good thoughts on all of it. Elliott Wolf, John Schneider know that well. They will be patient in the process. Again, those guys that have grown together, know each other. That Ron Wolf connection, again, certainly goes back. The guy that I fell in love with football underneath and watch that Green Bay front office, Ron Wolf to Ted Thompson. That is a great one. That's the model these guys use, and it is certainly a winning formula. So they'll be patient. We will be excited to see what both these teams do. Excited to see all the scouts for both these front offices at the Combine when we're there. We will keep scouting until then. So make sure you're checking everything out. Tomorrow, join us for Tyler Jones of Virginia as we talk all things football as we keep scouting.